Warm greetings to all of you. I am Shreyas Soundare with my team member Sahil Sridhankar. We are going to present you different types of launch vehicles used in satellite launching. The introduction. It is a rocket-propelled vehicle used to carry a payload from Earth's surface to space. A launch vehicle is a good illustration of Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Different orbits of Earth. To launch a satellite in space, we need to understand different Earth orbit and other parameters for successful launch. Low Earth orbit (LEO). A low Earth orbit is an Earth-centered orbit with an altitude of 2000 kilometers or less. Medium Earth orbit. Medium Earth orbit, sometimes called as intermediate circular orbit, is the region of space around Earth, above low Earth orbit and below geosynchronous orbit. Median Earth orbit altitude is about 35,786 kilometers. Geosynchronous orbit. Geosynchronous equatorial orbit is a circular orbit at altitude of 35,786 kilometers. High Earth orbit. A high Earth orbit is a geocentric orbit with an altitude entirely above that of a geosynchronous orbit. The orbital periods of such orbits are greater than 24 hours. Types of satellite launch vehicles. Based on usability, expandable, reusable. Based on lift level, heavy lift, medium lift, light lift. Expandable. An expandable launch is a launch vehicle that can be launched only once. ELVs typically consist of several rocket stages that are discarded sequentially as their fuel is exhausted and the wheel gains altitude and speed. Reusable. Reusable launch vehicles (RLV) can be used multiple times for launching. Classification of reusable vehicles. Full reusable launch systems, partial reusable launch systems. Further, my teammate Sahil Sridhankar will explain you further.
So I am Sahil Sridhankar. I will explain you about subcategory in reusable launch vehicle. The fully reusable launch system. They are still in development stage, and the SpaceX Starship is being designed as a fully reusable launch system. Then the partially reusable launch system. They are in the form of multi-stage orbit system, have been so far only reusable configuration in use. The companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, OVAX, iSpace are developed toward reusable launch vehicle, and with the help of partially reusable launch system, now many companies are launching small satellite in space for satellite communication for general public. So now I will explain you about launch vehicle based on lift level. Small lift launch vehicle. This is a rocket orbit launch vehicle that is capable of lifting up to 2000 kg of payload into low Earth orbit. Example of low Earth orbit launch vehicle are Spilon Japan, Pegasus US. The SSLV can carry 500 kg of payload for low Earth orbit. According to the Somonath, the development cost of rocket is around 120 crore. So medium lift launch vehicle. This is a rocket launch vehicle that is capable of lifting between 2000 to 20,000 kg of payload into low Earth orbit. Example of medium Earth orbit launch vehicle are PSLV India, GSLV Mark II India, Falcon 9 Block 5 US, Long Mark 4B and 4C China, H2A Japan. SSLV can carry 300 kg of payload for Sun synchronous orbit. According to Somonath, the development cost of rocket is around 120 crore. High lift launch vehicle. This is an orbital launch vehicle capable of lifting between 20,000 to 50,000 kg into lower Earth orbit. The example of heavy Earth orbit launch vehicle are GSLV Mark III, Ariane 5, Delta 4 Heavy US, Long Mark 5 and 5B China. Now I will explain you steps for launching satellite using expandable launch vehicle. The first stage of launch vehicle contains rocket and fuel for lifting the satellite along with the launch vehicle from ground. The second stage of launch vehicle contains small rockets. These are ignite after completion of first stage. They have their own fuel tanks in order to send satellite into space. The third stage of a launch vehicle is connected to satellite fairing. The fairing is a metal sheet which contains the satellite and protects the satellite. The fourth stage, satellite gets separated from upper stage of launch vehicle when it has been reached out of Earth atmosphere. The satellite will go to a transfer orbit. This orbit sends satellite into higher Earth orbit. When satellite reach to a desired height or orbit, the subsystem like solar panels and communication antenna get unflared. The satellite takes its origin in orbit with other satellite. Now satellite is ready to provide service to public.